Less than 2% of athletes are going to go on to have a professional career in all sports. But most athletes never think about what their post-competing career will be like. Today we're going to talk about some things that you can do to navigate your post-competing career and put you in a better position to have a better career after you finish competing. Today we're going to talk to Keon Blank, former Fresno State and LSU hurdler. Keon has a bachelor's in criminology and a master's in public administration, and he has successfully navigated his career after competing. As a matter of fact, he's given me a lot of tips that has worked for me. Keon is going to talk to you about some things that you guys can do while you're competing that's going to put you in a better position to navigate your post-competing career. So make sure you guys take some notes. My name is Fitzroy Dunkley, Olympic medalist, but I'm not currently a professional athlete anymore. And these tips help put me in a better position to be able to navigate my career after competing. Okay, so here's Keon. Today we're going to talk about some of the things that you guys are going to need to help you navigate your career post-competing. So Keon, let's get into some of the things that you think people need to do to focus on their post-collegiate career.
I think you got to make sure that you're having goals. Goal setting and making sure that you're aware of like when the end is coming. It's definitely a big part of like what I thought about. We're not athletes forever. I mean, we are, but we're not in athletics forever. We're not competing forever. So knowing that there is going to be an end at some point, you got to definitely make sure that you're aware of when that end is going to be and probably plan it out a little bit better. Did a lot of networking too to kind of like help facilitate some of that and make sure that when the end kind of did come around that we were prepared.
So you mentioned just now about talking about the end. When can you start guessing about when the end is going to be?
I mean, typically, you're in college for 4 or 5 years, so you know that when your 4th or 5th year is coming up, that you're pretty much just about done. Some people go and run post-collegiately. Like, I ran 2 years post-collegiately, and I realized that, like, I can't do this forever. Got to make some money, got to do some real things and kind of get out to the world because, again, if you do it late and you don't have any actual career experience, it may be hard to make that transition. And I've seen it for a few different people. And then even for like some conversations and whatnot about where to go next, they didn't really have a plan and trying to push into that career, they realized that the experience that they probably needed was probably more earlier in their career and while they were competing and they weren't really planning it out.
You talked about going, post-collegiate for a couple of years before you finally, took on your corporate life fully. What was behind that decision of going for that dream for those 2 years? And what was the final thing that let you know that, okay, after these 2 years, this is when I'm going to stop and fully focus on corporate America?
I think the timelines just worked out for me. I planned enough ahead, like outside of athletics, and I kind of things fell into place a lot sooner. I was actually kind of mad because the timeline worked so well because I wanted to compete more. But because the timeline did work out, I pretty much just knew that like this was the door that I had to walk into at that time. And pretty much athletics was kind of just going to be on the back burner now. It's just a passion and a thing that I did in the past.
So did your goal setting kind of help set that up for you, like where you already had it planned out before so that when the timeline came together, you already had everything together?
Yeah, pretty much. I got my job offer and pretty much just was like, yeah, this is the end of where I was going to be.
So in a way, you kind of did two things at once because you already were looking for jobs at the side, but while you were doing track, so it's kind of like doing two things and keeping that in the back of your head, like, look, this might not work out, but you're still, going as hard as you can.
Definitely, yeah, because back when we was in college, we didn't have NIL, bro. So we wasn't making money like they're making money now. So that was a lot different. Needed to make some money, needed to have, like, for sure know when that next check was going to come in.
I remember you was grinding on the side too.
That scholarship check wasn't going to come in, the financial aid wasn't going to come in no more. And you just got it, bro, I had an internship, I had a job, I was working, I was going to full time. I had it all. And post-competition way, and we still had to have fun after that. Like, it was a lot.
So like for athletes, you just mentioned you're doing all those different things and working and all those different jobs that you have. For athletes who are doing that currently now, how do they fit like the job search into that?
Whenever you can, man. You gotta find the time to do it. Like, I used to do mine sitting in class or in the bus, right before I go to sleep.
Give me some actionable things though. Like, what can they do? Like, are you talking about going on LinkedIn? Like, going to job sites?
LinkedIn, do networking events on campus. Like talking to professors about randomized things, and then just having conversations and networking with your friends and people who are in your classes. I learned a lot of different things from the people who I was in classes and stuff with, and like a lot of different industries that they were in, and realizing like, I'm kind of missing out on opportunities because I didn't think this far or like think about this different avenue about where I wanted to be and how to kind of get there. So thinking about like even different websites and companies that like do some of the things that like I thought I wanted to do, and trying to research into more and realizing like, like this is probably an opportunity. I'm glad I talked to this person.
I think that was one of my problems, that when I was in college, I think I was too like narrow-sighted. I was only thinking about track and field. I'm like, this is all I want to do. I didn't like think about going into any networking events or trying out anything different. I think when you talk about timing, that kind of resonated with me because I wasn't thinking about anything else. I was just like, And then when I was like coming to the end of, everything was done, I was like, wow, what am I gonna do now? Because I didn't set any goals like you mentioned earlier in my whole career to say what's gonna happen next. So that's one thing I know you guys could take away from that. It's kind of start early, like Keon said, set those goals from early out. Start looking on LinkedIn for positions that you guys think you might be interested in. Start going to those networking events, talking to your friends, talking to people that'll make more connections. I think this is a conversation that is just starting, and we can continue it. So let me know down in the comments if you guys have any questions about anything that we talked about and how you guys could navigate it too. And be sure to send this to any of your friends who you think this could be helpful to. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back with more information like this. Thank you for watching.